This Airsoft GI TV episode is brought to you in part by G&G Armament and TSD Airsoft. Welcome back, boys and girls, to Airsoft GI TV. My name is Tim. There is a new sniper rifle on the block, and it goes by the name of the G&G G96. This is a gas-powered, bolt-action sniper rifle. It's a pretty solid gun. There are a couple of quirks with it that I don't quite approve of, but I'll start with the features, and we'll get to that later. First of all, it has the perch for the QD bipod. So the QD bipod goes onto here, and it's actually very easy to take off and put back on. The barrel is made of metal. The stock is made of a nylon fiber weave or blend or something like that. The butt pad is adjustable for length depending on how long your arms are. Obviously it has the thumb hole grip, standard on the MK96 model type guns. Safety, and of course the bolt. One of the things that I like about this gun is that the hop-up is this knob right here. But it's kind of a double-edged sword, okay? The hop-up is very easy to adjust, it's just a little thumb screw, but it does take up a little bit of rail space, so you can't have like a fancy scope mount, okay? You have to have the two rings almost, otherwise you can't mount the scope on here at all. And without a scope, this gun's practically useless. I'm not a big fan of the thumb hole type grip, but, you know, to each his own. One thing that I think that G&G could have done a lot better on is the molding of the stock. Okay, the stock is to spec, alright, it's the right size and everything like that, but it's not very comfortable. Okay, it's kind of rough around the edges, and also you can see the creases in the molding. There's quite a bit of flashing around the entire thing, and it just doesn't feel very nice. Okay, so depending on where you place that on your priorities list, you may or may not want to look at this gun. But visually, it does look pretty good. We're going to see how it performs in a minute, but we're actually going to put this gun up against a very well-known and tried and true KJW M700. KJW M700 has been on the market a lot longer than the G96, and it's a pretty good selling gun for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is reminiscent of a very familiar sniper rifle, and it just basically works. Alright, it shoots pretty hard with .20 gram BBs. It has a long barrel. It's also gas powered, and so it's relatively accurate, and it's also pretty inexpensive. This is the takedown version, the quick takedown version. There is one that you cannot break apart, but they're both for sale for around $200 or so versus the G96, which is for sale for $399. The stock on this gun I think is much better. Okay, it's kind of soft and squishy. Not really though. Alright, not like a teddy bear, but it does have some texture to it, and it's nice and smooth, so it's very comfortable. One thing that I did notice about the M700 is that the grip seems to be bigger than it's supposed to be. Okay, I've shot a real M700 before. I don't really recall how big the grip was, but this kind of surprised me when I picked up this gun. So this is the well-established KJW M700. It's for sale for $219. We're going to pin it up against the new kid on the block, the G&G G96. So let's take a look at the performance numbers. Let's go out and chrono both of these guns. Alright, here we are outside in the yard. I have both guns loaded up with .43 gram BBs from Manhole. We're using sniper weight BBs since they're both sniper rifles. Any serious sniper is not going to use 2.0, so we're not even going to bother chronoing them with 2.0s. I have them both loaded up with the same type of green gas. This is a good can of gas. It's just been opened, so you won't have any discrepancy there with the low can of gas or anything like that. I have to say that at this point I am favoring the G96 right now because it holds 17 rounds in its magazine versus the KJW's 10-round magazine. Let's go to the chrono and we'll see what the velocity is. Alright, first up we are going to test the KJW M700. Remember, these are .43 gram BBs. Alright, now it's time to test the G&G G96. So the performance numbers heavily favor the G&G G96. Shoots roughly 400 FPS with a .43 gram BB. I've talked to the techs and it looks like the internal build quality of this gun is very similar to the first gen Tanaka M700s. It also shoots just like the first gen Tanaka M700s. 400 FPS with a .43 equates to mid to high 500 FPS with a .20 gram. User friendliness and practicality, I'm going to have to give it to the G96 as well. The hop-up adjustment is right here on the top of the rail. It takes away from the rail space, but it makes hop-up easy to adjust if you do elect to use different weight BBs in the middle of the day. Don't know why you would, but it's nice to have in case you do. Also, the QD bipod perch is also a big plus. Instead of having to unscrew or screw anything, you just push a button and the bipod comes right off. Not a huge fan of the thumb hole type grip, so for comfort and feel, I guess, I would have to give it to the M700. It's a very familiar design, very comfortable, much easier to switch hands when shooting this gun. The performance numbers aren't quite there and it doesn't hold as many BBs, but this still is a good gun in its own right. One thing that really does kind of get me about this gun is the internal quality. That rattling you hear is the inner barrel bouncing around inside the outer barrel. The G96 does not have this issue at all, and you can actually see there is, well, maybe you can't see right now, but there is an O-ring bracing the inner barrel up against the outer barrel right at the very end. So I would assume that this gun, in addition to shooting much harder, will be more accurate. So the G96 shoots harder, holds more rounds, is more practical and user-friendly. Doesn't feel as nice, but it is a fantastic gun. It has a lot of great features on it. Is it really worth twice as much as the KJW M700? It's up to you to decide. I'm Tim from Airsoft GI, and I'm out.